Hey y'all, we're talking about trust today. So get comfy and let's dive in. So trust. What do I know about trust? I mean, I've been on this journey for a very long time and it's a doozy. Trust is one of those things that evolves with you and always requires more of you. It always requires courage. It always requires that next step just outside of your comfort zone, so that you can walk in the safety of the surrendered moment. It's believing in your future, right? It's believing in the good things coming towards you. And I've got my notes, so we'll be able to really dive in. But yeah, trust is making space. It's making space in your heart so that the good things can come and lay a path before you that you can walk with ease. Trust is big, and a lot of us have struggled with trust, and because it's one of those things that doesn't have a destination, which is why I wrote about it. I wrote about it in my book. It's called En Route. I'll link it below. But when you're talking about the journey, right? And we're talking about being present in the journey. We're not talking about the destination. You don't just trust and that's it. You have to continually trust. It's something where the foundation is constantly being laid and built upon. And that's why when trust is broken, even if it's one or two beams, it can set people back. It can set people back a good distance, right? Because you're hesitant to believe that people have your best interests in their hearts. You're hesitant to believe yourself because you made the decisions that led to whatever situation that now you can't trust. But that's one thing we all have to get over. You need to allow for mistakes, right? Allow for the journey to be a process. We say this, we know this, but think about it, right? Make space to stumble. If you're a toddler and you're walking through life, nobody is pissed because you tripped and fell. They ask if you're okay. You get up and you keep trying. You don't think your legs have deceived you for good and you give up and cut them off. You know what I mean? You keep going and you keep being willing to trust. So it definitely takes willingness. But that willingness is matched with that belief that you're going to be taken care of. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people miss. I've missed it. I've been in stages where I thought I wasn't taken care of. I was proven wrong and hence built more trust. But those are the moments you have to zoom out, right? And how often are we journaling and zooming out and taking our time? And what I mean by zooming out is pulling back, pulling out of the situation as is, so you can overlook your life and kind of put the dots together. And you're like, oh, I see why this happened. I would have never been in this course if I didn't meet this person who told me about it. And now I'm doing this great thing. Or I would have never started writing a book or playing music if I didn't meet this person who reignited or inspired me to go for it. You know what I mean? The divine connections, the divine interventions, which are miracles, right? Those God-given time points for you to section off onto your path. And you get a choice, right? You get a choice every day. So for choosing, why not choose to trust? Why not choose to trust God? But that also means staying connected, right? So the more you're disconnected from yourself, the more you're getting too much outside influence. And I get it, you're watching this video, but you know what I'm talking about. You know when it's too much for you. You know when you're listening to, so many influences around you, be it friends, family, mentors, whatever. You know when you haven't taken the time to sit and decide for yourself, how do I feel about this? How does it resonate in my body? How does it align with what I feel like I've discussed with God? You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. So think about it that way. Think about trust as a person for a second. If trust was a person, they'd believe you. Everything that you said and did, they would believe you. If you were like, I'm an astronaut, they would be like, I trust this person's telling me the truth. Like, truly personify what trust is. It is giving this person the benefit of the doubt. It is not letting doubt drive, because two people can't drive the car. You can't have trust driving and doubt driving at the same time. Now, doubt can be in the passenger seat, speaking to you, saying, I don't know, but you have to still be driving the car with trust. If it's vice versa, you already know how that goes. It's a battle to get moving. It's a battle to just go a few feet, because doubt's starting and stopping and nervous and scared, and trust is like, you got this, you got this, you got this. And you're constantly patting yourself on the back to get yourself going. And that's an absolute valid stage of learning to live a surrendered life. But it is not the end all stage. So if you're there, you're on your way. And it's not a place you're meant to stay, right? And I think that's part of it. There's a complacency that comes on us sometimes, because trust gets us to the thing and we're like, oh, we got it. That's great. We're here. But then more desires come up. And you know when they're a divine desire, but these divine desires that are part of your core, your soul frequency, those are placed there. So you're going to get those too, right? As long as you pursue them in alignment, stay connected. But again, back to the connection part, you have to chime in with yourself, right? Connect, breathe, take a few deep breaths right now. Let's take a few deep breaths together. Just dropping in, right? Because it gets fast. Take a nice deep breath in and a nice full breath out. Let your shoulders drop. Just sit back in your seat, or just let your shoulders drop as you stand wherever you are. Okay? Because you've got this. You can trust yourself if you are doing the work. If you have been proven time and time again, right? You can test God. You can say, I need confirmation on this. Show me the way. You can ask. You can ask for anything you need to feel supported. But one thing that's going to be asked of you in return is that you step towards it. And that is a trustful step, right? That is a courageous step forward into or onto something you really can't see right in front of you. This platform is being laid as you take the step. So if you're walking along a bridge, imagine this bridge. And the planks are literally coming only as you take the next step. If you were to stop, you'd be like, how am I supposed to get across? And you get stuck there thinking, how do I do it? The rope, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could crawl across the top. But if you just took the next step, the plank would show. The plank would show itself. And it continues to show itself until you get to the other side. You're well on your way. And you've definitely got this. I cannot say that enough. So encouragement all the way. I'm proud of you. You're doing great. It's really time to get honest about where you do and don't trust yourself, because that's hard, right? So for me, a lot of my journey started with trusting God wholeheartedly in this way where I've almost rid myself of my desires. I didn't have any. I was like, whatever it is you want me to do, right? And I was so happy about it because God was leading me down some really beautiful paths and still is. But this is at the time. And so then it got to a stage where it's not just about, it is about fulfilling God's desires, right? God has a will that's been placed in our hearts. This divine source connected desire is in our hearts. But then God will be like, oh, well, what do you want? And if you've been in that state for so long, for me, I was like, I don't know. What do I want? I don't know what I want. And so figuring out what I wanted and then being able to trust that those things are aligned was a part of my journey. And trusting that the things that I wanted and the things that I was pursuing were aspects that were also bringing me closer to the joy that was already in my heart. It's not just servitude, right? Or servitude. It is not just servitude. It is also joy. And it is also receiving those things that are in our hearts, that were placed there from the beginning. So, anyway, another thing I just wanted to share, again, I have my notes, is that trust is relational. So, consider that. If it's a relationship, it has to be tended to. If it's a relationship, it's going to have its challenges. And I think just allowing for failures, right? Allowing for mistakes, allowing yourself to be trustworthy, allowing yourself to trust yourself. Sometimes you'll think, oh, this was definitely it. This is what I trusted. And it didn't turn out the way you expected. And so you're like, oh, I can't trust myself at all. How could I even trust myself? Because if it's not 100%, it's nothing. No. You stepped out in belief of yourself. You stepped out in faith of yourself and your guidance and your divinity within. And you chose something. And you felt good about it. And you felt like aligned with it. That's powerful. And that's power because it's going to lead you closer and closer to your path. And anyone who's like ever seen like Abraham Hicks or something like that, like the contrast, right? You learn what you don't want for sure, but you can't let these decisions that lead to a less desirable outcome deter you from trusting yourself. This is part of the practice. Think about the toddler walking and tripping and falling. The toddler doesn't cut his legs off when he trips. He gets up. You get up and you keep going and you keep trusting those legs that are taking you somewhere you want to go, somewhere really beautiful, somewhere divine, somewhere heavenly. And I'm proud of you for going. I'm proud of you for going for it. So I wanted to give you just a little insight into trust. I have a couple more points, but it's not going to take long. Think about all the things you can trust, right? So you can trust boundaries. Boundaries help you trust. You can trust your heart. You can trust that it's all working out for you. It's taking you somewhere. And you can trust your body's alignment with these things, your body's resonance with certain things. That is the self-betrayal, right? That is the opposite of trusting yourself. When you feel so deeply that this thing is not for you and you do it anyway. Betrayal, the taste of betrayal. And one thing I hate is betrayal. Oh, God knows I hate betrayal. So anyway, you don't want to keep betraying yourself. And not that you're keep doing it, but we've all done it. And we don't want to keep doing it. So think about those things. Start to get in tune with your body. Whether you need a yoga practice, I also teach yoga. I will be putting meditations and yoga videos up eventually. So follow me if you'd like to get in touch with those. But getting into your body, breath work, just taking your time. Just really like listening to what someone says to you and seeing if you agree. Taking a breath when someone triggers you, right? So if someone says something and you feel your response, you know what your response is. And now you can choose to trust that response and say, okay, this is a triggering moment. It has brought up a little bit of rage, some anger. I want to get back at this person or speak back to this person. But you can really zoom out and be like, okay, wait, we're all people learning on this journey, right? This is a big, massive, macro trust version of this. Okay, so you're in that argument and you zoom out so much that you're like, wait, we're just two people on this journey. We're just two people trying to find a way to get in sync here. Sometimes someone's going to trigger you. You know, it's not personal. These things that happen, these decisions that you find less desirable outcomes, these situations that come up and you're like, oh, how could I possibly trust when all these things are happening? First of all, you're likely clearing a lot of ancient trauma and generational traumas. But also, you're building new habits. There's residuals. It's not everything is a switch and it's just overnight. And sometimes even if it is a switch, you still get the residuals. Even if it is an overnight shift, you'll get a residual in a week or two. And you're like, oh, I thought we cleared that. You did, but everything else has to kind of settle. The dust has to settle, right? So I can't stop hearing, you got this, you got this. So you've got this. One other thing, just embodying it, right? So we have this macro idea of trust where we can zoom out and see that every single person on this planet is a fractal of God code, right? We're all learning from each other. And if that's the case, then we're all helping each other be our best selves. Why is that so hard to believe? If you believe it, the people around you will start believing it, right? Exampleship. You're the way shower. You can do this. You can show what trust looks like. But stay connected, stay aligned, stay within your frequency, stay in your homeostasis, right? And allow yourself to enjoy the experience that is life as it shows you all these things, as you up level and timeline jump and quantum leap, as you do all of these wonderful things. And bring people with you because you'll start to see your friends are making the jump too. I love when I make a jump and I see my friends make a jump and I'm just like, yes, they made it. And some people don't. It's okay. But we trust that this is all for the good. If you have a heart aligned with Source, aligned with God, aligned with the consciousness of unconditional love, then you are leaning into the new way of life, right? The new earth. So, again, you've got this. You're probably tired of hearing me say it, but I hope not. And I hope this has resonated with you and has given you some encouragement on your journey. Please believe me, I've been through it, and I just wanted to share some of my tips for going through it. And this is from my book. It's just a question. If you're dealing with anxiety and are already examining a non-existent future, why not examine the details of a potentially beautiful one where things work in your favor? Just something to think about. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day or night whenever you're coming across this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.